What's going on YouTube? It is your girl Lauren Finesse, and we are back. I know I look a little rough. Y'all, it has just been a week. It's been a week. Y'all know every time I talk to y'all, I've been letting y'all know that my client is going live on the 15th of December, so it's been crazy. But before we get into all of that, please go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. It is free, 99. Please support the channel. Like, all you have to do is subscribe. If you subscribe, if you like, if you leave a comment, you are supporting the channel. So please support the channel, okay? Support your local business. Anyway, so yeah, it's been hectic. But today is Friday, TGIF. Got to start packing this weekend, get my keys to my new place on Wednesday. So I want to be able to start moving stuff on Wednesday because next week is the actual week before the go live. So I expect next week to be jam-packed crazy. I think yesterday I worked like a 12-hour day. Today I worked like probably like 9-10 hours. Tuesday, Wednesday, probably 11-12 hours. Like it's been hectic. You got to show up and you got to grind it out. And I'm 100% dedicated to grinding it out through the month of, well, I mean, I'm always grinding it out, but I mean, the month of December, I'm in a full detox. I'm going to the gym. I'm focused in on work. Like, we really are going to end the year off strong. But y'all know why we're here. Now, normally we do Love is Blind, but Love is Blind has been, and I know this is probably the same set of producers for the Ultimatum, but the Ultimatum is good. The Ultimatum is good. I even watched, did I watch the queer season? I didn't watch the queer season. I just wasn't interested. No disrespect. But the other seasons were good. So y'all already know how this is going to go. I'm just going to go couple over couple. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. So first things first, if you don't know, the premise of the Ultimatum is they bring on 5 or 6 couples, and one person in the relationship is ready to get married. The other person is resisting. So they are bringing them on the show to give them the ultimatum of, hey, at the end of this, we're going to get married. So the premise of the show, like I said, one person wants to stay, one person wants to get married, one person is resisting. So they bring all these couples together and they basically mix them up. They put the couples together in a jar and they mix them up and they all swap partners. For 3 weeks, they live with someone else's partner. And then for the next 3 weeks, they come back and they live with their the person that they came with. And then it's to really just show you, would you be happier with someone else? Are you ready? Now, this is my thing about the people on this show. Because this is weird. And y'all let me know what y'all think about this. The people who are resistant to get married, when they come on the show and they jump right in and they start falling for somebody, that's a little weird to me. Because you don't even want to be in a marriage with the person that you actually know, that you've been with, that you have history with, that you have a rapport with, that you love. And now you on a show and now you so into this new person. Like, is it, shiny new object syndrome, or you just really are better matched with someone else? And then I feel bad for the people who are brought onto the show, who are resistant, who want to get married, and then they end up in situations with a person and their couple doesn't go as well as their partners. Because it's like, damn, I bought my partner on the show because I want to get married, and now my partner who didn't want to get married is having the time of their lives with this other person. Like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, that's some real mental gymnastics, emotional gymnastics, and I don't know. Would y'all be able to go on the Ultimatum like with your real life serious partner? I would not. And we gonna get into people who go on the show and waste the people time, okay? Because definitely a lot of y'all piss me off this season. But we're gonna get into it. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the first couple is going to be Vanessa and Dave. Y'all know. Vanessa and Dave. Okay, so Vanessa's the one that wants to get married and Dave is resistant. Vanessa, basically she's feeling stifled in her relationship. She's not feeling respected in her relationship. And really Dave is taking her for granted. Like 100% you could tell. He's like, oh, you know, he comes in very, not even arrogant or cocky, but very sure of himself and where he stands with Vanessa. But as the episodes go on and as time progresses, she starts to have a connection with Nick. And we'll get into his couple in a second. But she starts to have a connection with Nick. He's matched up with Chanel. And they are really a mismatch. And we'll touch on it. But they're really kind of like, not really a mismatch. They're really just like, this is what's left, right? Like all of the most attractive people, the lit people, they sort of connect and come together. And there's always a couple or two who are just like, by default, you ended up with this person. Like you really wasn't feeling them like that. Y'all ain't really had no connection like that. But the other people are taken. So this is what you left with. So Vanessa was matched with one of the lit people, Nick. And Dave was matched with one of the girls that was, I mean, very pretty girl. Chanel's a very pretty girl, but I don't see them together. Like complete opposite of her boyfriend, Mike, I think his name. So anyway, that's them. Dave doesn't want to be married, but as soon as he sees that Vanessa is starting to vibe with Nick, he is just like, oh, wait a minute. Like they went on, they go on a mixer so that they can get to know each other. And at one of the mixers, which is the first week, right? The very first week, they do mixers all week to get to know each other, to see who they're going to pick at the end of the week to live with for the next 3 weeks. She had gotten very cozy with Nick very fast. They both went to art school. They seem to have a lot in common. They're both goofy, very upbeat. And both of them are ready to get married. So they were equally yoked. It seemed like a really good couple. But Dave definitely sabotaged it. And even at one point, they were at the mixer talking at the bar, having a great time. And Dave comes up and interrupts their conversation. And he's basically telling her, like, I know what I want. I'm ready to go. She's like, it's only been like a day and a half. So now you see, you could lose me. Now you see another man who, quite frankly, is better than you. And I don't mean better in like a superficial way, but like better. Nick seems to have a better career, more money, more successful. So, he sees her matched and getting along with this other guy who is attractive, who has this ish together. And he definitely felt the burn. All right. The next, I'm so sorry for smacking in y'all ear. That's ghetto. I'm sorry, y'all. The next couple I want to talk about is Chanel and Micah. So like I said, Dave was matched with Chanel. Micah was matched with, what's her name? Emily. Micah was matched with Mariah. I don't know why I said Emily. And we'll get to them in a second. So Micah and Chanel, ill. I'm sorry. First of all, I've seen pictures of him on Instagram, and he's actually taller than what he looks like on TV. On TV, he gives very much little man. His voice ain't even deep. I was like, there's no way I would be able to have a conversation with him and his voice is this high pitched. I would be like, In their relationship, Chanel is ready to get married and he is not. He feels like they need to wait. They need to take their time. He basically says Chanel was too needy. And, they told their story about how, she used to work Uber Eats and he would work all day and he would ride with her when he got off work to do her deliveries. So, they got a real starter from the bottom, right? Started from the bottom. Now we hear type love. And she's ready to get married. She's like, no one knows me better than you. No one knows you better than me. Our families know each other. What are we doing? And it's like, yeah, what are you doing? Because she's a beautiful woman. And I think he's another one. Even though her couple wasn't successful, neither was his. I think that was what they needed to see, which was nobody else want us. The lit people in the group did not pick us. The lit people in the group didn't pick us. We didn't have connections with the lit people in the group. And we both got random straggler leftover couples to match with us. And that's why they left the experience. And we're going to get into that. So for them, they blocked. They left the experience. We'll get into that in a minute. So screw them. Next is Mariah and Caleb. So like I said, Mariah was matched with Micah. Now, Caleb was matched with Aria. And we'll get into her couple in a minute. So because Micah and Chanel left, obviously their couples had to fend for themselves. Micah was matched with Mariah. Now, Caleb and Mariah didn't leave. So that left Mariah solo because she didn't have a couple. Her person left. And Caleb, his person, stayed, which was Aria. So now you have a dynamic where we're both supposed to be in couples and learning something. And now my woman can't learn nothing because her guy left her. Lame. And now I feel guilty about the connection I'm having with my person because my girlfriend is over there lonely. You know what I mean? And I respect Caleb for that, but Caleb, we gonna get into you, but Caleb, you are really acting like you wasn't feeling Aria when you kind of was. Caleb and Mariah, their relationship type is, like I said, she wanted to get married. He didn't. He feels like she's a pushover. Totally get that. She doesn't really challenge him and hold him accountable. Totally seeing that. She is very much controlling and jealous. You know, it comes out that he went on like a trip or something and she was calling and texting the whole time and he's on like a guy's trip. Ladies, if your man goes on a guy's trip, let him have that space. I promise you, just let him have it. Find you something better to do. Find you, not even something better to do, but find you something to do so that you are not sitting at home all day obsessed about what this man is doing. Because it's not cool. It's not cute. And you will drive yourself crazy. That's them. They're really boring, especially her. Mariah is hands down boring. There's no other way to put it. Boring. And I think he's like, he's 29 and she's 24. So they really are in that sweet spot to get married and live happily ever after. But like I said, Mariah's person, Micah, he left. And so she's now in the apartment by herself and Caleb is matched up with Aria. All right. So now we talk about, Aria and, Scotty. There's a lot to unpack here, but let's just quickly unpack it. One, Aria is a beautiful girl, but her makeup is terrible. Her makeup is giving, I smeared peanut butter on my face. Like, it literally looks like peanut butter is smeared on her face as foundation. At one point after she matched and left with Caleb, the very next morning, they woke up and Caleb was like, is this how you wake up? Before she came on camera, this lady had a full face of makeup. He's in the kitchen making breakfast and this lady came with a full face of makeup. Ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Now, I don't know if her skin is bad underneath there because she has not been seen without makeup. So I don't know what it looks like underneath. But she's a pretty girl and I hated to see it. I hated to see that she woke up early in the morning to Kate. And it's not even good makeup. It's not good makeup. It's not good application of the makeup. It's not the right shade of the makeup. Everything about the makeup was bad. So it was like, girl, why are you doing that? Just wash your face and come natural. Put your hair in a bun and get it done. Anyway, so her and Scotty are in a relationship. They are in a long distance relationship. I think they have been together for like 3 years or something like that. Now, we get into her backstory and we find out that she kind of grew up poor and, you know, struggling to survive and okay, good times. And so now she's very driven. And Scotty is irritating AF. Scotty is someone who he doesn't want to move. So if they're going to be together, he's basically telling her, you need to come where I'm at. And she's like, but I'm successful where I'm at. So I don't want to leave where I am to come where you are and be totally dependent on you. So Scotty is the one that wants to get married, and she is the one that is resistance. So Scotty comes in, and he instantly matches with Zaina, right? Is her name Zaina? Is that her name, Zaina? Yeah. He instantly matches with Zaina, and they have a really good connection. It's super cute. It's super, like, I didn't think she would like him, but then I saw it. I was like, okay, she actually is feeling him. She's smiling, they joking, they laughing. And at the mixer, you know, he kind of grabs her hand. Scotty grabs Zaina's hand, and Aria instantly starts crying. She is a crybaby. On top of the fact that you got all of this caked up makeup on, ma'am, you cannot be crying every 5 minutes, okay? You can't be crying every 5 minutes, because then you keep crying off this terrible ass makeup and then you caking it back on. We can't. Also, so Aria is matched with Caleb, and she seems to start to like Caleb, but the thing is, Caleb wasn't her first choice. Her first choice was JR, who is Zaina's man, and we'll get to them in a second. So she had a better connection with JR, but JR picked somebody else. So she's another one that kind of fell into this place of she got what was left, because JR, when they were at the table, when they were picking, JR had a connection with Aria and Sandy, and he ended up going for Sandy, the white lady. We'll get into it. And so I could tell that Aria felt away, but she at least did have a connection with Caleb. It's just that I think she would have preferred to have been with JR, but it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked, because he would have been trying to, and she seems like a respectable lady, even though I think he would have probably wore her down. Like, he would have wore her down eventually, because she seems very sweet and caring, but also she seems like a bit of a pushover. And Scotty is a person that is not aggressive, but he is someone that he has to have his way, or he throws a fit. And as a grown ass man, Scotty, I don't like Scotty. I don't. He another one. His voice ain't deep enough for me. Okay. Now the next couple is Nick and Sandy. So remember, Nick matched with Vanessa, and Sandy matched with JR. Now, Sandy is a firecracker. She's a fellow Scorpio like me. Nick is also a Scorpio. Found out Nick and Vanessa Lachey are both Scorpios. Birthdays on the same day. And JR is a Scorpio. So we was having a Scorpio vibe. And I hate that I was able to point out and see certain things. But it's always good to kind of see a mirror of what's going on. When you recognize it, you be like, and not just necessarily because it's a Scorpio thing, but also, yes, because it's a Scorpio thing. I know people hate that, but something about Scorpios, y'all, we different, and we have such a intuitive, empathetic connection just with ourselves. We are very self-aware, almost to the point of, and this is something that I was seeing with the Scorpios on the show. We are very self-aware, almost to an annoying fault. We are so quick to see what's going on and see things big picture. It can be exhausting. I'm not gonna lie to you. Y'all, I hate that I notice everything. It gets exhausting sometimes. I was having a conversation with this guy one time. We went on a date, and he said that to me. He was like, you know what? He was like, I could tell that you're somebody that just, like, you notice everything. And I'm somebody that's similar like that. And he was like, I bet that gets exhausting, doesn't it? And I was like, yes. We had like a real come to Jesus moment. And then, but I didn't really like him like that. But we had a quick bond for the one date that we went on. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So Sandy and Nick, he's an artist and an art seller, dealer. She's a party girl. She want to turn up. She want to live a life. Now, I think she's 25 and he's like 38. She's 27 and he's 38. So he is well into ready to settle down, and she is still drunk dialing him at 3 a.m. She is the one that is resistant to wanting to get married, and he is the one that wants to get married. He wants to move to the country and settle down. And basically, she's like, look, I just moved to the city. I'm a city girl. I'm a city girl. I'm not trying to move to the country, and I'm a city girl. So I felt that. Ladies, if it's something that is just fundamentally not you, it will never work. It don't matter how much you love the person, how much you want things to work. I can attest to my last relationship. I really loved him, but fundamentally we were different. And you know, sometimes opposites attract, but when there are fundamental things that are just off, it just ultimately it won't work. And we were together, you know, for years, but I had to walk away because fundamentally it just was not going to work. And you know, it's pushing it forward and continue to go when you are fighting yourself is unhealthy, and it'll make you sick. It'll make you physically sick. So that's my little, okay, that's my little blurb. Okay, take that for what you will. So anyway, he seems cool, but he also got a short temper, and he's another one. He's similar to Scotty. Y'all not used to rejection. Y'all are not used to not winning. Y'all aren't used to maybe taking a loss and being able to bounce back, because maybe things were just handed to you. Maybe things were just given to you in such a way that you never had to struggle for it. And now you're in the real world, and sometimes you got to struggle, and y'all don't know how to bounce back from it. So that's their thing. So, but Sandy is a firecracker. I knew off top that Sandy would go for JR because he's a big, strong black man. And he's attractive. When I saw him, I was like, where do I know him from? I know him. I don't follow him on Instagram, but 100% I have seen his profile plenty of times come across my Instagram For You page or whatever. I've seen him. So I was like, wait, am I tripping? So I went and looked him up. I'm like, I knew he looked familiar. JR and Zaina are a couple. They've been together, I think, 3 years. She's ready to get married and settle down, and he is not. He's 33, she's 32. She's like, you know, women have a biological clock, and I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready. And he is someone who was previously married, and he's using that as a reason why he doesn't want to do it again at this time. He also shared, and one of the connections that he had with Aria is because he also grew up poor. He talked about a situation where he was homeless at one point, and you know, so he struggled coming up. So he is very much in this grind mode. I got to be successful. Very driven, right? Very resilient people. And I appreciate that. I really do. And I thought I was going to like JR, but oh, he's another one. I don't like him. He's not a good person, y'all. He's not. So anyway, that's their thing, right? And like I said, he's using this excuse, because that's what it is, about being previously married. And Nick Lachey tells him like, hey, I was previously married before I met Vanessa. And so I get the hesitation, but do you love her? Do you love Zaina? Do you want to be with her? Then you might need to bite the bullet. All right, so those are all the couples. Now let's just get into the episodes. So JR matches with Sandy. And, you know, they get along really quick out the gate. There is a spark, there is a connection. But for her, I could tell that she was fetishizing him. Fetishizing him. What? Fetishizing? Fetishize? She had a fetish. You could tell it was a fetish. He's a very good looking, tall black man. So you can tell she wanted that, right? It gave very much, it felt icky. Was I the only one? I have nothing against interracial relationships. Like, please love who you want to love. Let me just state that out the gate. I've dated outside of my race. This is not that. The way I saw her, though, it felt very icky. It felt like a fetish. It just didn't feel right. And vice versa. For him, he said he had never dated a white woman, and it did come off like, oh, I want to have fun. I want to turn up. And this lady want to turn up. I want to turn up. We're both Scorpios, and we have this Magnetic attraction. Been there with a couple Scorpios, so I get it. But it just didn't feel warm. Now, I think towards the episodes kept going in, they kind of went real into the process. Like, they started acting like they were actually married. They both forgot that they were in other relationships at one point. Like, towards the end, towards the more episodes of the show, as the show progresses, they were really into the experience. They dove straight in head first. But it just so at one point they're sitting on the balcony having dinner, Sandy and JR, and Nick sees them, and so she gets up, she's like, oh my God. So Nick's side of the story is she's blowing him up too, but he is definitely blowing her up. Now, Nick was in a couple with Vanessa. Remember I said there were couples that left. Vanessa and Dave left, which left Chanel and Nick without partners, but then Chanel and Micah left. So they were off the hook. And then Micah was with Mariah. So Mariah is also single. So Nick and Mariah are single, right? Now, I thought that they would take Nick and Mariah. Oh, look, Nick and Mariah. I thought they were going to take Nick and Mariah and put them together because they didn't have couples. I did not agree with letting them live separate and just go through the process. I didn't agree with that. Now, I do understand that their people were still in the process. So at the end, everybody will go back to their original couple and it'll be even again. But I didn't understand, not make them come together, but I think they should have proposed it, like, do you all want to try it? And maybe they did and they disagreed, because I kind of got from Mariah that she didn't like Nick. That came out a little bit later when they had the ladies' night, but I would have liked for them to have come together because Nick had way too much time on his hands. All he was doing was sitting around the house thinking about Sandy and that black man. I know I'm not the only person who felt it. Nick had a vendetta against JR from the jump. As soon as he saw his girlfriend into this black man, he instantly was pissed. And he even said it on his first night when they first got matched, and him and Vanessa, this was before she left. He was like, I can't believe she got with that knucklehead JR. I'm like, knucklehead? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? Because it had a little spice on it. It had a little, it sting. It had a little sting to it. And I was like, what did he mean by that? Because it felt nasty. He was like, she could have picked anyone. I would have wanted her to be with a respectable guy, and she picked that guy. And while I didn't like his tone and sort of the undertone of what he was saying, I agree with him. I agree with him because JR is trash. He's trash. But at one point, Nick comes to Sandy and JR's apartment and knocks on the door. And this is what I mean when I say that JR and Sandy were taking the process way too literal. This man knocked on the door looking for his girlfriend, and you talking about some, no, she don't want to talk to you. And then she in the back like, oh my God, I can't believe he's at the door. I can't believe, you are stressing me out. I can't believe you're at the door. Go home. I'm just like, girl, is this your man? Because I get it. He brought you to the experience, and now you're feeling somebody, so you feel like you don't want to get cheated out of the experience. But girl, this is still your man that you've been with. And let me tell y'all, I went on his Instagram and I went on her Instagram. And while they have not been posted together recently, I did see that they both were in Sedona, Arizona, like 3 weeks ago. Not pictured together, but she took a picture in Sedona, Arizona, and so did he. Also, shout out to them filming in Arizona, my new state, my new home state. Anyway, Nick comes to the door. And they're both like, no, leave. So he don't even get a chance to talk to his girlfriend. And then he goes back to the house and proceeds to have a mental breakdown and cry in a ball on the couch. Then he proceeds to go in the room and cry in a ball in the bed. She had this man breaking down. Sir, you brought her here. So I'm giving her a little bit of grace because, sir, you brought her here. Don't do that. Don't. You brought me. You brought me. Now I'm having fun. And it sucks though, because your person left. And that, I hate that for him. Like, I really do. I really do. Which is why Micah and Chanel and Dave and Vanessa, I don't like y'all, because y'all ruined the experience. It's like a domino effect. Y'all ruined the experience for so many other people because y'all wanted to leave. Why did you even come here? Why did you waste your time? Who did the vetting? Who did? Because Netflix, who vetted these people? Fire them. Fire them and everybody associated who vetted these people, because they literally ruined the experience for so many people just because they wanted to they wanted to leave. They were unhappy. So they made, I don't know, anyway. So then, you know, they Nick and Mariah go to the gym. They're not together, but they, you know, they need something to do because everybody else going on dates and picnics, and so they send them to a boxing gym. And Mariah was like, oh, you went to their house? Like, Nick was explaining it. And once again, his tone when he talks about JR it got a little hard R in it. You know what I mean? And she was like, oh, wow, well, we can't lose ourselves. We still have to be like, you know, responsible and, you know, level-headed. But she was looking at him like, because Nick definitely crashed out. He crashed out and he couldn't help himself. Fight for love. Fight for love, Nick. I don't like that you did that, but also, like, that's your girl. I didn't like how they played it. They could have had a lot more empathy, but I kind of get her perspective. JR was just an asshole. JR, move. Why are you, this is really not your girl. This is really my girl. Why are you standing in between me and my girl? I don't give a fuck about no experience. In a TV show, get the fuck out my way. Like, let me tell you something. If that happened to a woman, and the woman was finna go check on her man, and a woman stepped in between you while you trying to talk to your man, girl, if you don't back up, I've been there. There was a situation years ago, and I got into an altercation because I was trying to talk to my man, and she stood up talking to me. Ma'am, why are you talking? I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to him. Anyway, I done got triggered. Let me take some water. I done got triggered. So anyway. Why are they so loud? So that was them. So then they have a girls' night and a guys' night, right? You gotta have a girls' night, gotta have a guys' night. Aria is talking to Caleb, and she's like, you know, are you gonna tell, you know, the fellas, or no, she said, how do you think I should tell Mariah that we're feeling each other? Like, we're starting to develop feelings. And he was like, develop feelings? Who's developing? Who said that? Who said that? And she was like, oh, okay. But in her mind, which I agree with, she's going to be able to see our interactions and see it. Like, at one point they were talking about physical touch. And that was one of the issues that Scotty had with her. And when they were talking about physical touch, they just like were sitting there holding hands, Aria and Caleb, and just looking at each other. And it was very sweet and very intimate. And so she was like, if your girlfriend sees the interactions that you and I have been having, she's going to see that this isn't just a friendship. So you might want to get ahead of it and say something on the front end, because yeah, it's not just friendship. It's not, you know what I mean? So he's like, no, don't say that. I also understand his perspective. My girlfriend, her partner left. So she's in this apartment by herself. You don't need to go and tell her and rub it in her face. So I really understood where both of them were coming from. And that's a hard line to walk. So I really, yeah, I got both perspectives. So I'm not on one side or the other, because they both have very valid points for very different reasons. But they get to the girls' night. And Aria ends up telling Mariah, like, yeah, girl, me and your man got a connection. We've been getting along. We like each other. And I just thought that you needed to know. So they ended up talking, and you could see Mariah start getting emotional and tearing up. But Aria was telling her, like, girl, listen, he's saying you insecure, you be calling, you be doing the most. Maybe if you Stop doing that. Y'all could be happy. Because I don't think Arya and Caleb want to be together. It's just they had a connection within this experience. Zaina talks to Sandy. And Sandy thinks she a therapist. She is just giving Zaina all of this. Girl, you got to do it for you. Don't let no man drag you along. You beautiful. You, girl, shut up. Because you kissing and hugging and rubbing and touching on my man. And you ain't come with that energy. You came with the energy like y'all were just cool. Ooh, we cool. You played it, girl. You played it because you knew if you told that girl in her face what was really going on and about the connection that was really happening, it probably wouldn't have went that way. Because you definitely told that lady that you were training her man to be better for her. And I didn't. I was like, what? I'd be like, girl, what? I'm sorry, you doing what? You training my man? Again, some of these little buzzwords, they just don't sit right with me. What else happened? The fellas, the guys' night. Child, the guys' night. So Nick had to get this shit off his chest with JR. And he basically was telling him, like, look, I'm sorry for coming to the house and spazzing out on y'all, but, like, I need for you to understand where I'm coming from. I'm seeing y'all in the courtyard, going on dates, walking through, eating dinner. My person left, and I love this lady. So, yeah, I shouldn't have came. I shouldn't have came. But, you know, I hope you understand where I'm coming from, so I apologize. And JR was like, yeah, I lost all respect for you. That's where I lost all respect for you. It's like, sir, slow down. I did not like that JR did not receive where Nick was coming from and at least acknowledge, like, you know what? I get it. Because why don't you get it? Like, you are literally standing in between him and his woman. And you acting like that's really your wife. Baby, this is a television show. This is for play. This is for make-believe. You and Sandy are not really married. So for you not to be able to receive what Nick was saying and humble yourself, but instead double down on it was very weird to me. Then JR, he basically said he kissed her. He basically told Nick he kissed her, and Nick was like, wait, what? So all these feelings I'm having are valid. Did you sleep with her? And he was like, yeah, we sleep in the same bed. Ain't everybody sleep in the same bed? Here go Caleb, who's quiet as a church mouse the whole time, but he made sure he got this, and he was like, I don't think he's talking about like that. Like, yeah, you know what he mean? Are you sleeping with her? Not like, are y'all in the bed going to sleep in the same bed? Like, or no, are you having sex? Sir, and you knew that. You knew what he meant. And can't nobody tell me different. Can't nobody, they had sex the first night. And can't nobody tell me no different. I can't wait for it to come out. But then JR swings his attention to Scotty because he said somebody's head had told me, they had told me at that Starbucks, they had told me at that gym that you said I only came on here for a hall pass. And Scotty was like, I didn't say that. Now, mind you, Scotty ain't my favorite person, but I believed Scotty when he said that. Because Scotty was like, why would I say that? He was like, why would I even say something like that? That don't even make sense.
Sorry, y'all. My phone died, and then I didn't feel well, so I ended up laying down. It's been a long week, but no worries. I will see you guys next week. Please join me for part 2 as we wrap up this foolishness. And if you haven't already, please go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.